Do you ever wake up feeling tired, even though you feel fine? Do you have days when you don't understand why just one text or word from someone can ruin your entire day? If that sounds familiar, then this video is for you. We live in a world that is constantly changing. Pressure from work, relationships, social media, even our own expectations. All of it surrounds us every day. And if you don't know how to control your mind and emotions, you will easily be swept away, not by the storm, but by the undercurrents from within yourself. We are often taught how to manage our time, plan our finances, take care of our physical health, but very rarely does anyone teach you how to manage your mind and emotions, which are what determine the true quality of your life. Think about it. You can make a lot of money, have a solid career, and have loved ones by your side. But if you are still overwhelmed by stress, controlled by anger, or consumed by anxiety every day, are you really living a happy life? We cannot change the world around us, but we can change how we react to it. And the difference between a person who feels helpless and a person who lives with dignity lies not in the circumstances, but in the ability to control their emotions and mind. Many people mistakenly believe that to be strong, you must suppress your emotions, keep a straight face, or let things go. But no. That is self-deception. Emotions are not to be denied, they are to be understood, accepted, and guided. The mind does not need to be controlled by force. It needs to be trained like you train a muscle, patiently, consistently, and with direction. I want you to imagine this. Every emotion that comes to you is like a child knocking on the door. If you ignore it, it screams. If you yell at it, it rebels. But if you open the door, listen, and guide it, you get cooperation. That's the real way to control emotions, not by pushing them away, but by talking to them. People with strong inner strength are not people who never get angry, never get sad, never get hurt. They are people who are still angry but do not hurt others, still sad but do not lose themselves, still get hurt but do not lose faith in the future. That's what I want to invite you to embark on today, a journey not just to live better, but to master yourself in the deepest way. And to get started, you don't need anything big. You don't need hours of meditation. You don't need to learn dozens of psychological techniques. You just need to start small. One conscious choice each day. One simple act that helps you understand your mind a little better. One decision to stop, instead of reacting impulsively. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 20 helpful tips, not cliches, but practices you can apply in your daily life, so that you're no longer a victim of your emotions, but a leader of them. Are you ready? If so, stick with me, because what you're about to hear could change the way you see yourself, and the way you live, forever. There's something most of us don't learn in school, but it directly affects everything in our lives. How to understand and navigate our emotions. Maybe you've overreacted and then regretted it. Or maybe you've just been confused about why you feel so down and out of control, even when nothing big is happening. It's not because you're weak. It's because you don't really understand what your mind is telling you. And to start the journey of controlling your emotions, you need to be aware of them. The first step is to learn to name your emotions. When you just say, "I'm tired," it's vague. But if you say, "I'm worried about a deadline," or "I'm frustrated that my family doesn't understand me," things start to clear up. Because emotions are like children, if you don't understand what they're saying, you can't soothe them. Naming your emotions is how you bring rational light into a dark room of your mind. And that clarity helps you avoid impulsive reactions, calms you down, and helps you choose more appropriate behavior. The next step is equally important. Detach yourself from your emotions. You are not your anger. You are not the sadness or anxiety that is going on in your head. Emotions are something you experience, not something that defines you. When you say, "I am angry," you become the anger. But when you say, "I am aware that there is anger in me," you are looking in from the outside. And that distance gives you a choice. Do I react instinctively? Or do I respond consciously? The ancient Romans, especially the Stoics Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, emphasized that we cannot control everything that happens to us, but we can control how we react. So instead of wasting energy worrying about what other people say or do, focus on what you can control: your own thoughts, actions, and reactions. When you stop trying to control the world, you begin to control yourself. And to do that, there's a simple but powerful technique. Ask yourself a question before you react. Before you scream, blame, or retreat in hurt, stop for a moment and ask, "If I do this, will it bring me closer to the person I want to be?" Just asking that question, in a split second, can save you from making decisions that ruin relationships, lose your cool, or leave you apologizing for your rash behavior. You see, controlling your mind and emotions isn't a big deal. It's about making small choices, naming your emotions, observing them instead of melting away, focusing on what you can control, and pausing before you act. But it's these little things that make you a stronger, more stable person, not because you don't have emotions, but because you know how to manage them. And when you start practicing those things every day, you will feel the difference. It is not the world that changes, but you are changing the way you live in the world. And that is true freedom. You can't build a house without a solid foundation. The same goes for your mind. People who control their emotions aren't born strong. They have one thing in common. They build solid habits, actions they repeat every day. Silently but powerfully. Habits not only help you deal with emotions when they come, but also help you prevent them from hitting the wall in the first place. And one of the most effective habits for doing that is keeping an emotions journal. It sounds simple, even boring, but imagine if you could look back at your moods for a week. You would see the common denominators: what hurt you, what made you happy, what you overreacted to. Writing down what you feel helps you step outside the chaos in your head and look at it objectively. It's like sitting down and talking to yourself. Not to escape, but to understand. No need to write long. Just 5 lines a day. How I felt today. What made me feel that way. How I reacted. What I could have done differently. And what I learned. These lines will be an inner mirror that will help you not only process your emotions, but also learn to grow from them. Along with writing, there is another technique that is equally powerful: meditation. In this noisy world, meditation is like a reset button for the mind. You don't have to sit for hours like a Tibetan monk. Just 5 to 10 minutes a day, really quiet. Just focusing on your breathing. You will see the magic. Mindfulness meditation helps you calm your nervous system, reduce stress, and most importantly, helps you tune in to yourself. It is like turning off the outside world so you can hear your inner voice. Many people who used to experience anxiety, insomnia, or irritability just by simply meditating every morning completely improved their mental state. But for meditation or journaling to be effective, you need something that the modern world is increasingly taking away from you: silence. We live in a constant stream of notifications, messages, videos, news, and it's this constant stream of information that keeps our minds from truly resting. Give yourself at least one block of time each day to take in no information. Turn off your phone. Turn off your screens. Step away from crowded spaces. Just be alone. Do nothing. You'll be amazed at how your mind begins to heal in just 20 minutes of silence. Finally, when emotions are running high, sometimes you don't need logic or deep advice. You just need to breathe properly. The 4-7-8 breathing exercise. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 7 seconds. And exhale for 8 seconds is an incredibly effective technique. Not only does it instantly calm you down, it also activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which lowers your heart rate, reduces stress, and brings you back to a balanced state. You can use it before an important meeting, after an argument, or simply when you feel out of control. What I'm about to share with you isn't some fancy theory. These are simple habits that can change your life, not in one day, but every day. And the amazing thing is, you don't have to change the world. Just change the way you start your morning, the way you breathe when emotions run high. The way you take time for yourself is enough to create a stronger, calmer, and more self-possessed version of you every day. Here's a simple but easily forgotten truth. Negative emotions are not your enemies. They don't come to ruin your life. They come as teachers with messages, lessons, and opportunities for growth. But you only get that when you learn to look at your emotions from a new perspective, not with defense, but with learning. Instead of asking, "Why did this bad thing happen to me?" try asking, "What can I learn from this?" It sounds simple, but this small change in the question has great power. When you ask, "Why?" you fall into the role of a victim. But when you ask, "What can I learn?" you become proactive. And when you become proactive, you begin to take back control of your mind. I once heard a friend tell me about how he lost his job unexpectedly. In the early days, he kept asking himself, "Why me? What did I do wrong?" But when he switched to asking, "How can I take advantage of this opportunity?" his whole mindset changed. He started learning new skills, expanding his network, and a few months later he got a job that was better than his previous position. The first thing that changed was not the situation, but the question in his mind. The human mind has a natural tendency to make inferences. When we don't have enough information, we fill in the gaps with our imagination. The problem is, our imagination is often driven by emotions, especially anxiety. For example, when someone doesn't respond to your text for a few hours, you start thinking, "They must be mad at me," or "They don't respect me anymore." But the truth is that they may simply be busy or forgetful. So a big part of controlling your mind is learning to avoid making assumptions. Stop and ask yourself, "What facts do I know for sure?" If you don't have solid evidence, don't buy into your emotional assumptions. Objective thinking is a shield that protects you from unnecessary emotional storms. It doesn't make you insensitive, but it does keep you from getting sucked into the cycle of making assumptions and doubting yourself. There is also something we need to practice: accepting imperfection. A lot of the disappointment, sadness, and even anger we experience is not because things are so bad, but because our expectations are too high. We expect others to always understand us. We expect ourselves to always be on time. We expect things to always go smoothly. But life doesn't work according to anyone's expectations. When you learn to be okay with imperfection, you begin to live with more resilience. Instead of being shocked every time someone disappoints you, you understand that it is a part of life. Instead of blaming yourself for not being perfect, you learn to accept it and improve little by little. Imperfection is not failure. It is a condition for you to be authentic and mature. Ultimately, the best way to overcome negative emotions is not to avoid them, but to change how you view the entire journey. Try to see life as a training ground. Every stumble, every failure, is a training session to make you stronger, more patient, and wiser. You can choose to see challenges as problems to avoid or practices to overcome. And how you see them will determine how you live. A trained mind is not one that is never negative. It is one that transforms negativity into understanding. That remains objective amid the waves of emotion. That smiles at the imperfections. And that keeps going, no matter how rough the road. That is true inner strength. And anyone can build it, starting today. Have you ever found yourself reacting immediately when someone says something that upsets you? Maybe it's a criticism, a cold message, or a cold look, and then you snap back with a harsh remark, an impulsive action, or just angry silence, and then you regret it. You wish you'd been calmer. You're not alone. Most of us react this way because we haven't trained ourselves to pause before we act. But the great thing is that pause can be created, and it doesn't take years of meditation. It only takes 10 seconds. When you feel angry or hurt, pause for 10 seconds before you do anything. Count in your head, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, do I want to react this way? That split second is the difference between an impulsive action you might regret and a deliberate response that shows character. If you want to get better at controlling your emotions, start with your body. Emotions don't just live in your head, they live in your body. So one of the most effective ways to release negative emotions is to exercise. When you move, whether it's running, going to the gym, or doing yoga, your body releases dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins, natural, happy hormones. They calm your mind, reduce stress, and improve your focus. It's not just about physical health, it's a profound form of mental care. You don't have to be an athlete. Just be consistent. A 15-minute brisk walk in the morning, some stretching before bed, a light run on the weekends. These little movements will not only make you stronger, they'll also help you stay calm in times of chaos. But there's something even more important: the environment you live in. You can't keep your mind clear if you're surrounded by negative people all day long. There are people who whine, criticize, blame, and drain you every time you interact with them. If you don't set boundaries, they will drain your energy, little by little. Learning to say no is a vital skill. You don't have to cut off all relationships. But you do have the right to distance yourself from people who bring you down. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's about taking responsibility for your own emotional well-being. Protect your energy the same way you protect the most precious time in your day. And finally, if you feel like you're not strong enough, don't start with big changes. Do one small thing every day. A positive action, no matter how small, sends a message to your mind. I am building my strength. Read 10 minutes of a book every night. Write down a gratitude statement. Call your mom. Write a heartfelt note. These may seem trivial, but they build the best version of you, little by little. Because courage does not come from moments of brilliance, but from quiet actions repeated every day. Emotional control is not about preventing emotions from coming, but choosing how you respond when they come knocking. And each small choice, delaying reactions, moving your body, setting clear boundaries, doing something positive every day, is the foundation of becoming your own master. Quietly, unhurriedly, steadily. There are days when our minds are like a storm. Everything inside is spinning, chaotic and exhausting. And in those moments, what you need is not an immediate solution, but a place to retreat. Not a faraway place, but a safe space to calm your emotions. It could be a friend who listens, a favorite book, or simply a quiet corner where you can sit and breathe. Hold on to these places in your life. They are the healing balm for the soul when you feel lost. But sometimes, being alone is not enough. There are emotions that need to be expressed, that need to be spoken, not for someone to agree with, but just for yourself to feel released. The problem is, many people either choose to suppress their emotions, or the opposite, to take them out on others. Both are unhealthy. One makes you explode inside, and the other breaks the connection you have. Instead, learn to share your feelings responsibly. You might say, I'm feeling hurt, and I need some time to sort through my thoughts. Rather than blaming or accusing, being clear, honest, and calm in how you express your feelings will not only help you feel better, but it will also help others understand and reconnect with you. When you say what you feel without attacking, the listener feels invited into your inner space, not to judge, but to accompany. Another way to cultivate positive emotions is gratitude. It sounds simple, even a bit cliché, but you would be surprised how powerful it is. Every morning when you wake up, or every night before you go to bed, write down 3 things you are grateful for, no matter how small. A cup of hot coffee, a text from a loved one, or just the sunlight shining through the window. Gratitude is a compass that keeps your mind focused on what you have. Rather than getting stuck on what you don't have, it pulls you out of the cycle of comparison and inadequacy, and into the fullness of the present. Grateful people are happier, not because they have more, but because they see more clearly the value of what they have. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, remember, you don't need to fix your mind. It's not broken. It's not wrong. It's just working the way it's been trained to. And you're not a victim of your mind, you're its partner. Try changing the way you talk to yourself. Instead of, I'm weak for thinking this way, say, I'm feeling this way, and I want to understand why. Being patient with yourself isn't self-indulgence. It's the bravest act of healing. Your mind doesn't need to be perfect for you to live fully. It just needs to be understood, guided, and accompanied with sincerity. When you learn to be kind to yourself, you will see more clearly, more peacefully, and more firmly, not because life is less challenging, but because you have a stronger emotional foundation to navigate through those challenges. Finally, don't forget, inner strength is not something you are born with, it is something you build every day. From the very small things, a peaceful place, a timely sharing, a moment of gratitude, a gentle look at yourself. That is how you nurture a strong soul, from within. There is one important thing that we often forget. None of us are born knowing how to control our emotions. No one is equipped with a strong mind, calm in the face of all storms. Everything you see in a calm, thoughtful, self-possessed person is the result of repeated practice, starting from the smallest things. And the good news is, you can do it. You don't have to change your life all at once. You don't have to become a Zen master or a psychologist. You just have to start with one small choice every day. One pause before reacting. One write down of your feelings. One no to something that makes you negative. Each of those small actions is like a brick you lay down, slowly but surely, to build a stronger version of yourself. Many people fear that if they control their emotions too well, they will become numb, but that is a huge misunderstanding. Controlling your emotions is not about freezing your heart. It is about learning how to keep your heart from being swept away in chaos. It does not make you a cold machine. It makes you a person who is calm in the storm. Knowing when to speak up, when to be quiet, when to let go, and when to stand up for what is important. In fact, the more you understand your emotions, the easier it is to connect authentically with others. Because when you are not manipulated by emotions, you listen more, empathize more, and respond more deeply, not only to protect yourself, but also to preserve valuable relationships. You don't have to wait until you're more stable to start training your mind. Start right now, right where you are. Pick one tip you heard in this video, whether it's journaling, deep breathing, setting boundaries, or simply observing your emotions as they arise, and practice it every day for a week. Then another week, then a month. Don't expect a miracle. Just let change come to you like a friend, quietly but steadily. And then one day, you will realize that you are no longer reacting impulsively like before. No longer being easily hurt by unnecessary words. No longer afraid when negative emotions come. Because you know how to welcome it, understand it, and guide it away at the right time. You are not controlled by it. You are leading the way. That's real power, not external power, but internal mastery of yourself. Once you get your mind on track, your whole life starts moving in the right direction. You no longer live by reaction, but by choice. No longer driven, but knowing where you're going, and for what. And if you remember only one thing today, remember this: you are stronger than you think. Just start, right now, even with something small, and never stop. If you're still watching this far, it's probably no coincidence. Out of thousands of videos out there, you've chosen to stop here, and I believe that's a sign that your mind is truly ready for transformation. Each sharing in this video is not just empty words, but is the crystallization of a journey of experience, contemplation, and even times of facing oneself. If just one small idea touches you today, then maybe That is the peace you need. And if this is valuable to you, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with anyone who is also looking for a new direction. Like if you agree, and subscribe to the channel Stoic Enlightenment Era so as not to miss the next journeys with me. You don't have to go fast. Just go deep. See you in the next video, where we continue to discover ourselves.